All right. Thank you, Aly Moore, for being with me today for Mighty Monday. Very exciting. And just to start off, you're in the insect eating world, and you I think just to put a baseline in your Instagram bio, you have hashtag. Excuse me if I say this wrong. Entomophagy.
Yes.
Just to lay it down, what does this mean?
Yeah. So entomophagy is the fancy word for eating insects.
Perfect.
I'll send that for bugs because for any entomologists or bug nerds out there, they know that there's a true bug, which is one thing. There's an insect, which is another, and then there's
Mhm.
arachnids and arthropods. And so, you know,
Okay.
we also eat scorpions sometimes and tarantulas, which aren't insects, but they are part of that family.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So it's a whole thing. And eating wow, that's awesome. That's crazy.
I mean, that's when if we get into the storytelling element, it has a cool factor and it certainly generates a buzz. But it's so far as what people will eat on the day to day out here, we're probably looking at cricket, mealworm powder, other things. Those are great as delicacies. Hopefully,
Mhm.
not pigeonholed into novelty foods or like as a sensationalized thing, but also taste delicious. So I hope they do make their way onto shelves at some point.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Want everybody to have access to it because it's such a great protein source and it's also sustainable. And so my next question. When and why did you first start eating insects?
Yeah, so I love the origin stories. People get into
Yeah.
this space in a variety of ways. And I had been studying public health in 2012, and
Mhm.
around then went to do a summer in Mexico. And they have these late night taco stands that are open. And I had one taco from Taco de Chapulín, which is a
Mm.
grasshopper taco, and it was actually just delicious. So that got the wheels turning. And that year, when I went home for fall break, I wanted to prank my family for Thanksgiving. And so I was Googling, like, how to buy bugs in the US safe for human consumption. And that got me into the world. It was like small at this point. There wasn't a huge community, but I was like reading
Yeah.
online. I think there was like Entomo Farms, like cool. There were a couple marketplaces. And I decided to blog about it for some reason. I
Right.
ended up learning to never disguise bugs in food for people again. If you actually want them to eat the bugs, scarred my family a little bit, but like, that
Yes.
was my way into the industry.
I can, yeah. Well, I've told my parents about, my internship with Mighty Cricket, and that's the one thing they said. They said, "Do not ever disguise it. Just tell us. Just tell us." Like, I don't think everybody appreciates that, but hey, it's a fun prank.
I do not, there's no burden or expectation placed on me to cook for any holiday anymore. So that's maybe a plus, who knows? But
Right.
not out of that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And so then you took this kind of new thing and you started Bugible?
Buggable. Yeah, the word
Bugible.
it's always been a tricky one to pronounce, but stuck with it. Yeah, that what kind of got me into the space, and it's interesting in retrospect because Buggable is like my life in a lot of ways. As a business and as a brand, it's not very straightforward as to what I do.
Right.
The easiest way to explain it is like a lifestyle brand and kind of an advocate and educator and just as a supporter of the edible insect or the insect agriculture space on the whole. And so that'll take different forms, but it started as blogging, and then I got to know everyone and they became my extended family. We had a couple conventions and meetups, and meeting people in person is totally different. You just like fall in love with the group and get like so excited about all the cool work going on. I had a day job, took different forms, but I was in LA learning about marketing and entertainment, and took advantage of the access I had to different, you know, publications or YouTubers. Or at one point, I did like a album release for Papa Roach, and we like searched bugs and a bunch of like fun opportunities just to get the word out there. And then got into more partnerships and would do collaborations with like the Girl Scouts or museums or like different vineyards for bug and wine pairings, and just kind of built into a bunch of different cool ways to get the word out there and get the education out there for all the cool players and the pioneers building the companies and doing the things. I got to tell the stories.
Right. Well, that's so important because a lot of times people have a great idea and no idea how to market it, how to get it out there. And I think about that a lot with just like other, especially climate change in general, just getting the word out there and telling people, hey, this is a problem, we need to address it. And also getting them involved in a way that they actually want to do it. So that's I think that's great that you're doing that work. And I think when you're getting on the education aspect of it, why should people start switching from eating meat to eating insects?
Yeah, so many reasons. And at the end of the day, I think my messaging has shifted a little bit today, where I think people should be eating bugs 100% for
Hmm.
their own health, the health of the planet they live on, and because they taste good. And we can dive into each of those, but if people aren't going to eat bugs, because I know that for some folks it's like a phobic thing. I know for
Hmm.
some folks it's vegans can arguably eat insects. There's a whole calculation you can do where, unless you're vegan for like a religious or spiritual reason and you have ideas of the soul and conscientiousness, um, then from an environmental standpoint and from a health standpoint, you should be eating bugs. And we
Right.
can also, look at fumigation and pesticides first before ethically farmed and raised insects are targeted. Because I think, yeah. So that's a tangent. But if you're not okay eating bugs, maybe you could consider eating chicken fed with insects or fish fed with
Hmm.
insects, kind of like grass fed beef. Or maybe your pet food could be insect based and the health benefits remain. They're like nature's little multivitamins. They are one of the most efficient ways to get from sunlight and like feedstock to something edible that has a lot of not just protein but B12, like the nine essential amino acids. It's highly bioavailable. You have different bugs with superpowers like black ants have the highest natural content of zinc. And then you
Wow.
have potassium, magnesium, all these
Right.
great things. Bugs are a magical source of nutrition and joy.
Right. Yeah. It's almost like, I mean, they're packed with so much nutrients, so many nutrients. It's almost like I feel like we're being asked to eat them. But it definitely, yeah, it definitely does make sense, especially, Western culture, that there's definitely that hump of fear of eating insects. So I think that's a great, alternative. Hey, just make sure if you want your beef to be grass fed, it's insect fed. So I think that's a great alternative. Um, and then kind of going into that, you like cooking with bugs and making them delicious if you are going to eat them. You started a series called Cooking with Critters. I kind of want to know, how did you get into like cooking with with bugs, and what made you decide to start that? I guess we kind of went over that a little, but
Yeah. So I think that was one of the more fun projects. And there's so many things where it's like, that's a bookmark that I need to return to because, again, I have these awesome friends that work in entertainment and
right.
they came to me with an opportunity to do a little series with the On channel. And that was so cool because filming that was a blast. I've uh, been able to collaborate with different chefs. I don't have a culinary background. I'm maybe laughably a bad chef at the end of the day. But when it
Yeah.
comes to bugs, man, that's the thing where it's like I know how to assemble things that are, uh, if not intriguing, like the least scary way to eat them. And it's
Hmm.
also a lot of it's kind of like some fun mental tricks like scorpion or little land lobster. In the past, people would try to brand locusts as like the shrimp of the sky. And I know
Right.
recently with cicadas, it's like, oh yeah, the dirt shrimp. So it's a bunch of interesting comparisons that you can draw. And it's like each person has a different magic word that will get them to eat bugs. And maybe some people care about like their fitness and you have to focus in on like Rocky style, like cracking that egg and drinking it raw, and like you should do
Right.
that. Other people need to be taken on this like engaging culinary adventure, and cooking with critters was such a fun way to make some very simple recipes and just showcase how versatile and how simple it is to add insects to your diet. And then, here are different companies that you can try out. Like there's a bunch of really cool like consumer friendly goods if you're looking for sal de gusano, like some
Mhm.
worm salt to line your margarita glasses
Right.
with. That's an option if you're not down for the, insect protein bar.
Right, right. So many different options, so many different ways to eat bugs. There's so many of them. But yeah, I love that. And kind of going on with like the recipes, and do you maybe have like, well, one, a favorite bug to eat, And then 2, maybe a favorite recipe.
Gosh, that is a long list and it changes. So right now I've been super functional with it and I just have a cricket protein shake every morning. But
Okay.
the chapulín will always have a place in my heart. The grasshoppers are just so dang good, and like you can just make them into tacos, and they hold flavor really well. And I love them when they're like Oaxacan spiced and seasoned.
Right.
Mealworms are pretty great, and I'm growing my own now, so
Oh,
I'm excited to
oh,
eat
wow.
my first like homegrown. And then ants are like super fun just because they have with totally unseasoned this really pungent smell, and they taste like lemon pepper, and it's so it's so far on the end of the spectrum of like, is that natural because of the formic acid in them? They have
Right.
this unbelievable flavor profile. So you know, that's a cop out because I don't have a favorite bug or a favorite recipe, but I like them all. You know, crickets are
No.
obviously a staple.
Yeah. Well, I guess that I imagine they're all amazing. I guess I've had the Mighty Cricket protein powder and oatmeal. Love that. That's great. But it's ground into a protein powder. You can't really notice that it's an insect. But what is maybe the craziest story or bug that you've eaten?
Ooh, so I think eating any bug I can get my hand on, I'm eating it. So as long as I know it's like safe-ish. The giant water bug normally is pretty reactionary.
Wow.
Yeah, but they taste so good. They're like pumpkin seeds. And
Okay.
tarantulas a little scary for some people, and you have to like burn the hair off the legs. But that dehydrated tarantula, it is better than beef jerky. It's so good. But the craziest one that I will not repeat for a variety of reasons, ethical
Oh,
and other things, are I was visiting China and so randomly, I was on like a little tour. We were in like a street market, and there was some random smaller YouTuber that was in the street market calling out to people trying to see who he could convince to eat one of the scorpions on a stick with him
wow.
alive. And I don't know what possessed me to do this. I don't know. I don't like the idea of killing something
Right.
with my teeth. And the stinger too. This was uncharacteristic, but I did it. And I ate
Wow.
a live scorpion off the stick, and it was a little terrifying, but it tasted kind of great. So that
That is a story. Oh my gosh, eating a live well, like you said, the lobster of the land, or was that it? Lobster of the land.
little lamb
Yeah,
lobster. Yeah, these ones it
lobster.
was like how like ergonomically am I gonna
Yeah.
eat it before it
Oh,
stings me?
yeah.
And they were tiny desert lumber kill scorpions. It was fine. But yeah, that one I probably will not repeat.
Yeah. Hey, you only need to do that once. I feel like it's a great story. Bit of a fight. I feel like that's a fight or flight response. You kind of fought there. I think I would have flown. I think I would have run. But hey.
Normally I'm in the latter because for a bug person, like I have a just weird fear of live bugs still. I'm trying to get over it. It's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I think it's like the erratic movements where anything dead that's an ingredient, like I'm fine. But I don't like
Right.
live chickens either. They scare me a little bit. I'm fine eating chicken, but if it's
Right.
alive and in front of me, maybe I'm a little intimidated. And it's the same thing with like a worm or a grasshopper or anything like that.
Yes. No, that 100% makes sense. Um, well, my last question. If you had any advice for people who are, trying to enter in the bug eating, uh, insect eating space, what would you say to them? What would you say to them?
Oh my gosh, do it.
Yeah.
I think we were talking a little before about how right now is one of the most incredible moments in time where if you look at it from a zoomed out perspective, like how frequently do you get to see a massive global industry really hit maturity and
Right.
begin to flourish? And the insect industry has been around for ages in a variety of different ways. You know, insect farming isn't new. People have been eating bugs for forever.
Right.
However, when it comes to like Western culture or mass media or things that you'll read about, this is something that hits on some phobias, that hits on some emotional and cultural um, soft spots for people across countries. And it's really cool to see us come together to challenge some norms,
Yeah.
to reinvigorate others, and to like work on a project that is at the end of the day, it's something that's so natural and
Right.
can do so much good and is really, really fun because it makes people a little uncomfortable and forces people to look at something through new eyes and to withhold judgment for curiosity. So I highly encourage anyone to give a bug a try. And then again, if you didn't like the first one, try a different form, try a different bug.
Right.
There's so many options. And if you want to come into the industry as a business person, it is quite the time. Now is the
Yeah.
time. There is so much going on and the people are great, as is the opportunity.
Right. Super exciting. That was great advice. Hope people out there listening take it to and start brand blog. Just start with Mighty Cricket. I think that's an easy way to get into it. You don't even know. It tastes great. Protein.
Oatmeal
Yeah.
is so good. Everything
Oatmeal.
is really good, but yeah, as
The
a
oatmeal, great.
taster and appreciator, can vouch.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you for doing this quick interview with me today for Mighty Monday. It was great talking with you, Aly. And do you have an Instagram that you would like to plug before we end? Or anything that you'd like to plug?
Yeah, at Bugible, so Bugible, and find me there. And I do random stuff with bugs. So
Awesome.
yeah, thank
All
you
right.
for taking the
Yeah.
time.